Okay, welcome. We are live. Welcome to Empress Energetics. Let me just put this into the comment section. Q&A at the end. So write your questions, contemplations into the comment section. Mommy. Okay. I'm not going to look at the comments for now. Beautiful. Okay, so if you're new here, let me give you a little bit of a taste on what this channel is about. Because we're here for nothing but the truth. So, Empress Energetics entails the embodiment of highest divinity. And so, the community around that, and every woman that is following me, literally every woman that I've met through this channel, is a legit light warrior. Someone here and ready for brutal honesty, ready to let go of any limitation, any limiting belief system, any confining or imprisoning belief system, and here to live truth. And what do we do when we live truth as women, or in general? But this channel is dedicated to my women. We create heaven on earth. So in spiritual, maybe new agey 5D terms, we would call this new earth. In more biblical terms, we would call this the kingdom of heaven. So what the Empress in all of us does is she creates heaven on earth through her truth. So this is why we always go really, really deep, even though the thumbnails or the titles might look pretty mundane or might look superficial. It's a clickbaity thumbnail, right? So how deep or how much depth can we possibly convey in a thumbnail? But in the topics, we go really deep, like we zoom in and we extract truth. And this is not something that I'm doing by myself, but this is a shared journey. So that's why I'm saying this is not just a regular channel. Like we are all growing together. And the video title is Your Cosmic Ministry, because exactly what I started to do and what I'm doing here is very likely what you are here to do. It's so important that those of us, right, I call us a soul monad or a hive mind, those of us that archetypally or energetically resonate with one another, we are finding each other because we belong to a certain grid or a certain honeycomb, which means that we are connected through archetypal energies, we are connected through similar challenges. And as one of us is figuring this out, we're all figuring this out together. So you are here for others to untangle things faster. When we come together, it's like we elevate quicker. So usually the way these videos work is we zoom in on one topic and we dissect it and we go really deep, and it's an energetic transmission, meaning we enter the video with maybe a problem and we leave it without the problem. And in the video, we open certain tabs, not always answers, but we open certain tabs so that life and school of life can fill in these tabs for you. And today is a little more personal, just because life has been moving so fast that I didn't get to make the videos as frequency as I would like to. Because again, usually I pick one topic and I go really deep. Today is a little more broader. It's a little more about the energetic upgrades. So it's a little more about all the things that came in, because there was a lot of there was a lot of subtle shifts in perception that accumulated to a big shift in the physical. And again, the video is called Your Cosmic Ministry, Monetary Expansion. And let's start right there. Let's go deep into this, and I will connect this to everything that I've currently went through. So I didn't really prep anything, so this is more of just organic stream. I just wrote a couple notes just to make sure, because I want to share certain things. And one of the biggest subtle shifts that came in the last weeks is the shift around business and my view around business. And the word business just doesn't cut it anymore. It just doesn't feel in resonance, because it's not just a business. It's so much more. Every one of you that is watching, and if you're resonating with this, if you're resonating with this content, and if you've watched a couple other videos and you're like, I like her, you are not here to just create a business. You are here to create a ministry. And what does that word mean for me? Because we might connect it to a ministry in a religious sense, or a ministry in government terms, and delete all of that, because we are coining the term ministry. And the term ministry is your vehicle in which you serve God through. It's your infrastructure that allows you to serve God through this infrastructure. And that is a ministry, which is your business. So also God, right? I use the term God very consciously, because for a lot of us, and a lot of you that are watching are very highly evolved starseeds. Again, I've been on calls with you. I've worked with you. Like, some of you, I'm just like, whoa, who are you? Where did you come from? And I can only imagine where you're going. So a lot of you are very, very evolved consciousness, really here to work on creation in a deeper sense. And especially for us, the word God can have quite interesting connotations, right? It might even be cringy, or it might even, it just gives us a weird aftertaste. And if that happens, good. Because just like innocence on this planet, the word God has been abused by churches, religions, just torture that claimed to do work in the name of God. So if those of us that are highly calibrated energetically, like cosmically tuned in, wouldn't feel the slightest like ick when we hear the word, yeah, something would be off. So it's important for us that we reuse that term, because it always belonged to us. It always belonged to us. And we're here to walk this term God home, and we're here to represent what that truly meant, what God really was, which is love. And if any one of us has ever been indoctrinated in any religion, whether it's Christianity, Catholic Church, whatever it may be, we will find a lot of things, but we usually don't find God. And that's fucking sad. And that's why I'm using the term purposefully. In the beginning of my videos, I didn't use that term much, because I'm like, oh, I don't want anyone to misunderstand. I don't want anyone to think that I'm religious, because I'm definitely not religious. But I believe that there is wisdom in, of course, every sacred text, every religion. And it's for us to extract the truth of it and extract the essence of God. So when we use these terms that are icky, what do? We do grid work. We're bringing truth back into these words. We're infusing truth back into these words, because the word God does not belong to any religion. And for sure as it doesn't belong to Christianity. And so we're here to infuse these terms. So if you feel icky around that term, beautiful, use it anyway. That's all part of it. And that's also why I use the term ministry, because ministry is also like an icky term, but that's what it is. We're serving creation. We're serving God through our business, through our ministry. And again, that's a subtle shift, but it's big what it does in the long run. So I I help with business coaching, if you want to call it that, but it's so much more, because what it essentially is we are creating a garden. It's never about getting rich quick, making a lot of money quick. That's not how we operate on this level. We're building a legacy. That's why we're building a ministry, we're building a garden. We're building something that is here to last. And what does the garden do? As we nourish the garden, it will nourish us. But is this something that happens in a year or two? No. If you plant a tree, it takes you at least, depending on the tree, a good 4 to 5 years for it to bear fruit. And in that time, what do? You water the tree. And yeah, maybe you planted some herbs and you planted some little veggies that grow within a year, but they're probably not enough to feed you or your family. And so I want you to really take that and implement that and copy that onto your business. There's nothing wrong if your business isn't blowing up within the first year, because just like a garden that is here to last and meant to not only nourish you, but nourish your family and nourish and feed generations to come, that's what your business is about to do. And if your business, if you expect it to blow up within a year, how deep are the roots? How stable are the roots? How in integrity are the roots of your business? So we're here for the long game, baby. We're here for longevity. We're here to create a garden that will nourish families to come. And that is a subtle shift in perception when we talk about business. Now, you can still use the word business, right? It's like if someone's asking you, "Oh, what do you do?" You don't have to tell them, "Oh, well, I'm creating a garden." No, you can tell them, "Yeah, what do you do for business?" Well, that's what I do. I create art, or I create content, or I am a coach, I am a mentor, I assist people in transformation, whatever you want to call that. You don't have to tell them, "Well, I don't have a business, I have a garden, my friend." It's not about that. That's for you. That's an internal shift that happens for you. When you look at your business as a garden and as a ministry where the word of God is shared, that doesn't mean you have to actually go and preach. But even if you talk sales, even if you teach people how to monetize their social media account, whatever it is, you're still sharing your own unique frequency of God. So it's always going to be a ministry, even if on a superficial level, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't matter if you sell juices. You know who I'm talking to. That's still your ministry, baby. So that shift in perception will have a big, big impact in the way you view your business, you view your business growth, and how you approach things. Because a ministry will grow over time. So it doesn't mean you have to have everything perfected. You can start now, right? And if you look at it from a long run, it's like it doesn't matter if it bears fruit in 3 years or in 5 years or in 10 years, because it will. And you're here for the long run. This is legacy stuff. So when you approach it like that, it's also, you start to ask questions of, how can I utilize my gift to finance my ministry? It just changes the way you think. It's long-term thinking now. It's not about, oh, how can this make me money really quick? It's about, how can this sustain and nourish my ministry? What gifts do I hold that could finance my ministry? What gifts do I have that could finance and help nourish my garden? It might seem subtle. Trust me, it's a big freaking shift that happens when we approach it that way. And so what I'm telling every one of you is start it now. Start it now. And what does your ministry entail? What does your garden entail? You'll need a personal brand. Like, you at some point need to show up somehow on social media. You need to form a face that connects people to the garden you're creating. So you have to show up online. In easy terms, you got to create videos, whether that's on YouTube or that's on TikTok or that's on Instagram, it doesn't matter. But you know that at some point you just have to show up and you have to show people how God lives in you and how God expresses through you. And whatever you do, it can be super unique. Again, whatever it is, maybe you create art, maybe you create music, maybe you teach people do it yourself face masks. It doesn't freaking matter what you do. You have a gift. You have a gift and you're here to utilize it. And why is it important that you start now? Because as you grow and as you step into different embodiments, you will forget the way you thought in the beginning of it. You will forget the consciousness and the belief systems when you started this whole journey. And it's important that we start now because everyone is meant to follow us on this journey. And I just had this the other day. Like, if you wait until you're perfected and until you're making your first million, which you can't make your first million without sharing yourself, or maybe you can, right? Whatever, if you trade Bitcoin or whatever you do. I'm not saying you can't, but at this point in time, why wouldn't you utilize the gifts to help you with your garden? So when you wait until you have that first million, or you wait until you have everything perfected, you will lose a shit ton of people along the way. People that you would have been able to help if you started earlier, because they don't resonate with the version of you here. You don't speak their language anymore. It's like you transcended them and you transcended the challenges that they are going through. So, you could have helped all of those people, but you decided to like grow in silence and do your own thing. And then when you felt like you have this perfected sense of self, then you showed up. And now all of these people that are like, yo, fam, I thought you were going to help us out. You're like, you waited. And now you don't speak their language anymore. If you start here, literally as you are now, there are already a lot of people you will help, even with your non-perfected, shitty content, because you still speak their language. You still know what someone at step 0 or step 1 is going through. When you are at step 10, you don't have you don't share the same belief systems anymore. You don't speak the same language anymore. There's a difference in consciousness, and you might not remember who you were at step 1. And so when you start to teach or start to share yourself and share your content at step 2, you very much so remember what it was like at step 1. And this is not the actual steps. I'm just, getting a point across. You still speak the same lingo. And so people still resonate with you. And so now, instead of waiting until you hear all the way while you slowly climbing up the ladder of beauty and consciousness, people will follow with you. Right? And this is now you have a community of people and we're all growing together. And that's so much more fun. And that's the same that is meant for you. You are meant to show up right now, teach right now, so that people like just a tiny step behind you are like, shit, I needed exactly that. You just gave me the key. While when you hear, you don't speak the same lingo. So that's why it's important to show up now, not perfected. For those of you that have this whole like, well, I just don't like social media. I don't like the online space. I'm going to build my business in just organically without the internet or whatsoever. Why? Limiting belief system. You have to get over that. And I have so many women tell me that. You have to get over that. And okay, if in the beginning you don't want to show your face, that's okay. Start with a freaking podcast, or start with something that's easy for you to get into. Start writing or start posting. Even if it's super curated on Instagram, if that's what you're comfortable with, do that. But start with something until you are comfortable to show your face, because your face was given to you because there's God in your eyes. And if you are always hiding, or you're doing a faceless YouTube or whatsoever, it's just a freaking fear you have to get over. You have to get over it. And as you're getting over the fear, you're helping a shit ton of people to get over that fear as well. Right? Lift up everyone, or at least everyone who's watching, even if only 5 people are watching. Great. Because if you are still afraid of being seen, you might be good with only 5 people watching you. So start now. If you hold any belief system of, well, I need my LLC first, and I got to put this into place, and I need my website, and I have to set this up, and I have to work on my strategy more. No, you don't. You don't. Just start making content, whether it's on TikTok or it's on YouTube, right? TikTok is easy to enter because it's kind of, like I always say, it's kind of ratchet. So this way you can just be yourself, show up, see what happens. Because you can plan this out, and you can plan out your target audience, or the people you're speaking to, and your strategy and your message. You can plan that out in your, cute little notebook, and your cute little, calendar. You can plan out these strategies. In the end, that might not be your actual deepest truth, and you can only extract your message as you are starting to speak it. You will refine your message. And I always say that, get the shit out so the gold can come in. Because even if you prepped it for months on end, your first stuff will suck. Like, I feel my videos suck, but I know that there's a version of my videos and a version of Melissa in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, doesn't matter. I can tune into that. Damn, it's some high quality shit right there. So I'm starting now to refine my message, what I'm talking about, so that then it can get more targeted. And that happens naturally. And whatever I thought in the beginning, that will transform over time. So all of these things are you can put these things into place, but you might end up having a very different message than you thought in the beginning. You might end up talking about different things than you assumed in the beginning. Like, for me, I have such a passion for business, because I see it from a totally different perspective now. And that wasn't what I was excited to talk about in the very beginning. So it's changing. I'm evolving. The way I view things evolve. So the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago. And the best time to start your content, your business, is today. All right. So, wait, how does it go? It was a random quote, but it's kind of like, the best time to plant a tree is 30 years ago, and the second best time is today. Same with your content. The best time was to start like a year ago or 2 years ago. The second best time is to start today. There's really nothing you can F up, and you can always delete the content anyways. The other thing is that I hear is just that I have to get ready. I have to call in source protection. I have to get more grounded, right? That's because I talked quite like a spiritual crowd. I get that part of objection, and it's this whole like, oh, I'm not ready yet, right? It's like, I have to call in grounding. I have to call in source protection. And what does that even mean? What does that even mean? There is nothing more grounding than a business. There is nothing more grounding than you building your ministry. Because a big mistake that a lot of us are making, especially if we are devoted students, we ingest and we ingest and we ingest a lot of spiritual wisdom, and we read a lot of books, and we follow different lineages, and we do all of these things, and we do not digest. So now what happens if we eat a shit ton and we don't poop? No bueno. And that happens. Like we ingested so much spiritual knowledge, and it's super dangerous to ingest spiritual knowledge without ever digesting it and putting it into your own words. Because now what happens is you're in a delusionary realm and nothing is grounded, nothing hits home. So that's why it's super important. You start now. Start now. And for every book you read, you have to at least produce one video. For every video you watch, you produce one. That's how you actually allow your teachings to be grounded. That's how you actually make spiritual stuff applicable. Because there is no point of being up in the ethers if it doesn't serve you in the here and now. There's no point of amassing spiritual wisdom without being a good householder. If that's not the case, there's there's a discrepancy, there's a gap. There's nothing more spiritually honorable than being a good householder, meaning utilizing your gifts effectively and actually being able to build from there, actually creating a life from your gifts. But if you're just scraping by, but you have an immense wisdom of ethereal knowledge, and you live in the cosmic realms and you live in astrality, that isn't a safe space to be unless you have an outlet for that in the earthly realm, right? So you need teachings, you need wisdom teachings, and all the wisdom you gather here, you have to somehow bring it down. And super important. So that's why all of us, we got to start now. Build it now, even if it sucks in the beginning. That's fine. You need that refinement. You need to get the shit out so the gold can come in. What else do I want to talk about? Okay. Your life is a beautiful cosmic puzzle, and God is bringing in the puzzle pieces. So this is where I want to share some of my personal experience. I want you all to watch the video around the $1 million nervous system because that changed the game. And what happened in this video is it redefined the way I view needs. And when I make a video, I go through the transition in the same time, right? It's like I make the videos because I'm going through it. So in real time, I'm sharing my teachings and I'm sharing what I just recently learned. And so in that video, which is a couple videos ago, I think, we talked about the $1 million nervous system. We have to create a new way of looking at our needs. Our needs as a spiritual evolving being, meaning someone that is here to ascend planets, our needs are not merely, oh, I have a roof over my head and I have food to eat. Like that is just not serving us. So watch the video and redefine your needs and redefine what need even means. And when you do that, magic will happen because somehow we're always able to get our needs met, right? Somehow we're always able to pay the rent. Somehow we're always able to eat. Like even if shit really hits the fan, we were always able to eat. So if we apply that amount of importance onto bigger needs, the same thing will happen. So I want to share some personal stuff. But me and my husband, we were going through a really rough patch. And in that rough patch, I was at the point where I'm like, I'm really dependent on him in a lot of ways. And I was dependent because I had this whole idea of, well, I can't bring in different income because I'm an alien, right? I can't, in the US, I can't work legally yet, so I can't bring on income. I can't do anything yet because I'm an alien in the US. I'm from Germany originally. So I had this whole idea of how I can't work other than on my business, on my YouTube, on my garden, which is my legacy, which is my life's work. But I'm like, that's the only thing I can work on. So that's the only way that income can come to me. And I can't speed up this process, right? A garden will grow on its own accord. A legacy will grow in its own accord. So I I can't really generate 100K if that's just not how it's built out yet. And it requires patience and it requires me taking action. So I had this whole idea that because I'm an alien, I can't create money. And me and my husband, we hit like a really rough spot where we just needed time apart, where we had to calibrate back into our own truth. And I had to come back and see, well, my truth and his truth comes first. We cannot try to fit our truth into this relationship, but the relationship has to elevate to such a degree where it fits into our truth, not the other way around. So I left, I stayed with a friend for a bit, and it really hit me that I made myself really dependent based on a lot of limiting belief systems. Because if God is as limitless as I preach, God doesn't freaking care. The cosmos doesn't care if I am currently an alien in the US. It will find a way. And so I was like, okay, F that. Like, I'm done. I cannot live like this. I cannot live with my basic needs met. I need expansion because there is so much vision I have for the ministry I'm creating. There's so much vision I have for the life I'm creating for my future family. Like, I cannot just put it all on my husband, because in the end, even though like he's gonna make it, but I want to make it myself. Like, there's something that I want to grow, and I will not rest until I grow this, because it's imprinted in my soul, in my essence, and it's bigger than this life. So I had to get away from all of this, like, oh, but he's providing, he's supposed to provide. Yeah, of course, he's a fucking man. Of course he provides. He's a real man. He's a father figure. So yes, he will always provide for his family. But there's something that my heart, my soul, my essence longs to create. And that was born in the stars. That wasn't born in physicality. I brought this into this vessel. So I will not rest until I create this. So I'm done with all the limitations. So I took action. And what did I take action on? On something that I had control over. So I started, and I needed finances for my lawyer. I needed finances for the fact that, well, maybe me and my husband, what if we don't make it, right? So I took action. And I'm like, okay, even if that means I have to be a server again, because seems like a simple entry for someone that doesn't have their paperwork together in the US. So I did that, and I applied for, jobs, or I asked my friends that own coffee shops, like, hey, can you help me out? And so I started to do that. And that was freaking humbling. That was very, very humbling, to go back and to literally wash plates and go back and having so many multidimensional skills that can help someone on a very high level. And yet somehow that infrastructure just wasn't built out for me to have all of my income come through that stream. So it was wild to be back and be a hostess with the mostest and serve tables and be in the back and wash dishes. It was wild. And I'm like, damn, okay, here we are again. Here we go again. But it didn't feel like I was taking a step back. It was almost ironic. I was just like, okay, God, where's this going? And the whole time while I was washing these dishes, like literally recently, for freaking like working for $10 an hour, I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I was laughing. I'm like, okay, God, I know there'll be a really fun plot twist, and I'm waiting for it. And while I was washing the dishes, I was like, oh, damn, this is how it goes. Vom Tellerwäscher zum Millionär. And I don't know if you have that saying in the US, but in German, it's like from Tellerwäscher zum Millionär, meaning from washing dishes to being a millionaire. It's like this thing, right? From started from the bottom that we hear. Like, that's what we say as a metaphor. And I'm like, okay, like I kept hearing that. I'm like, yeah, of course, right? Of course. I've prepped for this for years. Like, I've elevated for the last years, and I worked for expansion. And the next day, a woman walked in that I had a really profound conversation with over a year ago in my gym in the sauna. And she was looking at me, and she was giving me this, like, without saying it, she was kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? And it was a telepathic conversation. And she was just like, honey, are you looking for a job? I want to talk to you. And so the same day I met with her. And long story short, I now am starting or I'm not starting, I already started. I'm working in sales now. And it's beauty sales. And it's literally like hardcore sales. It's cold sales. And literally what every business coach or someone entrepreneur that is really successful will tell you is eventually you will have to get good at sales. And if you want to get good at sales, you have to work in hard, cold sales, meaning like selling cars, selling solar panels, selling these beauty products. It's like literally like on the streets pulling people in. And it's so interesting. First of all, the commission is incredible. Like we're talking about like 150K a year average, which is what? It's like around 10 to 20K a month. So I projected that this would come through Empress Energetics. So through the business I'm creating, through the garden I'm creating here with all of you, because this is where my true, like, that's it. That's given to me by the stars. That's something that I was born with. I can't grasp it fully, but I know I'm here to build this ministry. So Empress Energetics is where my heart is, where my focus is. And this is why when we reframe it and we're building a garden, we're building a ministry, and we're looking at the big picture, we can see how the puzzle pieces come together. I see exactly why God placed me there. Not only because I really need more money because I redefined my needs. I redefined my needs that my needs are, if I'm really honest, between 15 to 30K a month. So the expansion came in a different form because I can't force Empress Energetics to grow. That's my baby. That's my garden. That's my ministry. It will grow on its own accord, like a tree. Yeah, you can put in the best freaking soil and you can pee on it and you can put cow's poop on it and whatever. You can put ash on it. How much faster is it going to grow, right? You can do all of these hoops and loops and try to grow it fast. It's going to grow in its own accord, just like a baby. You can give it all the nutrition and yeah, it might be really like thick and healthy, but it's not going to grow substantially faster. Same with your business. You got to give it time. And so I can't force Empress Energetics to grow just because I need more money right now. I have different needs right now and I need to expand more. There's experiences that are important for my path that cost money. And there's also a different lifestyle. But there's a different avenue that came in, a different puzzle piece. And I see why I'm there, because essentially I will need to be able to sell, right? We all need the skill set of sales. And I have this saying of make sales sacred again, because I realized in the process of onboarding certain people, talking to people, I really suck at sales. And because I still had limiting belief systems. And when I stepped into a container with someone of a $13,000 coaching program that I was interested in, because I met this person, I'm like, I need to learn from her. Like, she has keys that I haven't embodied yet. And I'm like, it doesn't matter how much it is. And I knew it would be a lot. So when she said, well, my group coaching is 13K. And the way she walked me through this sales process, I'm like, that is what sales is. Making sales sacred again means to understand what we're doing in selling. We're walking someone through a portal. And it's the art of persuasion, but not in a sleazy way. But it's that persuading that on the other end of the portal, the version of you waits that you've been longing for. And it's not even not persuasion in a bad way, but this like, hey, you got this. I know it's scary, right? Because it's destabilizing for the nervous system. And being good at sales means knowing how to walk someone through this portal. You're a doula. Like a death doula or a birth doula is walking you through a portal of birth and death. We have to become sales doulas, where we get good at walking someone through this portal of sales. this portal, whether that's a program, whether that's coaching, or it's a product, the person might have questions and the person might feel fear. And anytime I felt that, right, anytime maybe the price was more than this person was prepared for, or it was destabilizing for this person's nervous system, I was like, yeah, no, whatever, like, don't do it. And it's like, no, that's not always the answer, because I didn't want to be pushy. But there's a difference in knowing and having faith that this person needs this right now. And if they need it, God will provide. There's a difference in that, and a difference in, yeah, it's not the right timing. So I sucked at sales, and I am placed in an environment where it's all about selling. And I couldn't let go of limiting belief structures around sales if I wasn't placed in a hardcore sales environment. So I see exactly why God has placed me there. And even though it might look like a puzzle piece that didn't seem to fit in at first, or even though I projected this linear progression of Empress Energetics is going to grow, just organically, I'm going to create more offerings and that's how it's going to grow. Yeah. But God's like, okay, honey, you need to learn this skill set and you need to grow into a more confident version of yourself, having more faith in the power of what you're creating, but also having more faith in God, having faith that money will come in like tenfold when people spend it, having faith that even if it's destabilizing for the nervous system, it's the right thing. So it's like all of these things. So how that applies to you is, first of all, redefine your needs. Okay, so watch this video, redefine your needs, and get really honest with your needs. Then second of all, take action, whatever it may be. Even if that means that, whatever, you have to go back serving tables, which you probably don't have to do. I did that because I'm an illegal alien in the US and I didn't know what else to do. And so this way I found a way around. There was always an option, right? Because I now have an LLC, and I don't recommend that for everyone, because I also believe in quantum law and quantum grammar, and there's different ways. So that's beside the point. Depends on where you're at. But I was able to form an LLC and get paid through my LLC, which is beautiful. And so I didn't know that. I didn't need to be a US citizen for that. So that was a beautiful way around it. And that presented itself to me because I was willing to take any step I had to, even if that meant going back, serving tables again. And what is that for you? Redefine your needs. What are your needs? What is the ministry you're creating? What is the big North Star? And then allow God to come in. Don't be just passive. Be active. Take the steps you can right now to walk through that portal. There's something you can do. There's something you can do right now. And then walk through that portal, do the thing, even if it seems like you're taking a step back, and then watch. Watch what will happen. Because when you have the North Star of a garden, of a ministry, God will make sure you learn all the skills you have to make this possible. And if you, again, look at a 10, 20-year plan, you're okay with learning different skills. You're okay with investing 6 months or a year into learning this new skill set. For me, it's sales. I need to learn that for whatever I'm creating, right? Sales is something we all need to do. And I used to suck at it because I had a lot of limiting belief systems. And of course, I'm an honest person. But if you're good at sales, it means you're brutally honest. Good at sales doesn't mean deceiving people. So there's a lot of things that I had to learn, and I am learning right now. I needed financial expansion, and Empress Energetics in the format of YouTube and my offerings just wasn't quite ready to bring that expansion in. That doesn't mean that life wasn't ready to bring that expansion in. So now I'm making the amount I need to make gracefully, and I prepped my container for it, right? I prepped myself for it to be able to receive 10K, 15K, 20K a month very easily without any question mark in my mind. And I thought it would come in through the coaching programs, and my programs are not just coaching programs. They're healing journeys. They're alchemical journeys, but it doesn't matter. Like, let's call them coaching programs. I thought it would come in this linear way, and it doesn't. And that's beautiful. So there's a divine puzzle piece, and it only makes sense backwards, right? We might have this linear trajectory of how our North Star is going to unfold, and it doesn't matter. In the end, it'll all make sense. So be okay with a couple reroutings, because they will lead you exactly where you have to go. And don't judge it. Don't judge it, right? If I judged the serving, or if I judged the beauty industry and how the money came in, we are always doing God's work. Because that's another thing that I hear a lot. Oh, I just can't get a 3D job anymore. Nowhere you go is a 3D thing. Wherever you go is multidimensional business, is God business. You bring God, you bring your essence wherever you go. So this whole like limitation of, oh, I just can't go back into the workforce. I can't work a 3D job. I just can't do that anymore. That's BS. That's limitation, because you bring God wherever you go. Yeah, on the outside, I might serve tables. What do? I bring my God spark to people. I brighten up people's day. I pour my love into people. I pour love into the coffees I make. I pour love into the freaking dishes I scrub. And now I pour love into the people I pull in. I pour love into the people that I sell non-surgical lifting devices to, right? It's all love. It's all God's work. It doesn't matter how it looks like on the outside realm. And you don't need to create the super multidimensional business first. You can bring your multidimensionality wherever you go. So release the judgment. Release the judgment. And we have it. Like I've spoken to a person, and I don't say release the judgment because you shall not judge. I don't care about the moral reason. The judgment is only blocking you. It's blocking you from opportunities and possibilities. Because if I walk around judging the beauty industry or judging what I'm doing there, I wouldn't have accepted it, because I would have looked down on it. When we infuse everything we do with sacredness. And I had this situation just recently where it's like, just see where you're doing that. See where you're infusing stuff with judgment. And it's like, there's a difference between discernment and judgment. The judgment is blocking you. Discernment is helpful for you. And I met this gorgeous woman at one of an event. Like, it was a small event in Phoenix, like just kind of like a women's retreat. And one of my dear friends, we made music the night before, and she's like, guys, you should come. Like, I'm speaking at this little event. And it was like 30 women in this kind of like strip mall situation. It was this ghetto like parking lot thing in Phoenix, right? It wasn't a big thing, but it was beautiful. And all of these women came together, and there was one woman, and I'm like, yo, she's so magnetic. First of all, she looks freaking gorgeous. But there's something about her. And her name is Victoria Prince, if you want to check her out. She's inspiring. And she doesn't do what I saw myself doing. And I didn't speak to her yet, but there was something about her. I'm like, yo, she's just real as fuck. Like, I like her. Right? And she had like this BBL butt job and everything, but I'm like, she's legit. Like, she's a real one. There's just something, like this woman has something for me. And I didn't know, but when I followed her, I saw that she has like 500,000 followers on TikTok, and she's making $1 million of revenue, I think monthly. I don't know, like some absurd number through Amazon Shop. And, like on one level, you could reject all of that. I'm like, yeah, well, she's not actually doing the job. Because one of my friends, I was like, yo, like, I checked out Victoria, and my friend, she's also super like successful on TikTok. And she was kind of like, yeah, but she's not really like, kind of like, oh, she's not really like a spiritual influencer. Like, she's not doing God's work. She's just selling clothes on the internet. Basically, that was the essence of that. And there was a judgment in it. And I'm like, cool, but you're missing the point. No, this person is not just selling clothes on Amazon with Amazon Shop, which is a really good opportunity if you haven't looked into it. She's not just doing that and making 200K a month with that by just literally making little TikTok videos. No, she's sharing God. Yeah, on the outside, superficial level, she might be presenting a little freaking crop top, but what she's actually doing is she's infusing every video with God because she's infusing every video with herself. Does that mean that that's the end all be all and that's that most divine expression of her calling? No, that's where she's at right now. But fuck, man, she's giving a lot of hope and I love her. Like, I watch her videos, even though I don't buy that stuff and I don't buy Amazon stuff. I watch her videos and they light up my day. So she's doing God's work. And is that, why not? Is if you block yourself from possibilities because you're judging, you're blocking yourself from possibilities. The person you're judging doesn't care about it. But if you're judging the opportunity of possibly making thousands of dollars a month through TikTok because you're an Amazon influencer, because you have an Amazon shop, but you judge it because it's not whatever godly enough, why? These are the instruments that are given to us. If that will help you finance your ministry so you can create from there on, don't judge, don't block that out. Like, utilize everything that God gave you. Utilize it all. If it's physical beauty, utilize it. Why not? These are the tools that God gave you. If you have a great personality and you have a fucking rockin' body because you slammed your ass in the gym, why not? Why not present stuff that people would buy anyways? Now, yeah, we could go into this whole, it's produced in China. It's a whole nother conversation. And yes, as a high encoded being, it's important what we stand for and what we propagate. Yes, of course it is. At the same time, it's like when you have a bigger vision, maybe this is a stepping stone for you. So release the judgment. I couldn't judge being a server, because if I judged being a server, if I would have said, well, I'm beyond that, I'm better than serving tables because I have all of these multidimensional skill sets, I wouldn't have done it. And guess what? If I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't have met that person at my job that would have offered me a $15,000 position monthly. So it's like, if you are rejecting what's put right in front of you, you're blocking yourself. And the reason why you're stagnant is maybe you're judging. Maybe you're judging something that is actually a cool opportunity for you. Like a lot of people judge coaching, when what's better than coaching? What is more beautiful than coaching? And so many people, even in the coaching industry, judge coaching. It doesn't matter how they live the coach or how they represent being a coach. What does it mean? You're creating a container for transformation. When two or more people gather, that's where God comes in. You don't know the magic that happens when you and someone else comes together in purity for the sake of love, for the sake of evolution. You don't know the miracles that happen. So if you look at coaching and you make fun of it, or you look at it like it's anything mundane, you've never been in a coaching container. So stop judging it, because that might be your path. Okay, so I'm not saying don't judge for other people's sake, because they don't care if you judge. Stop judging because it might be the thing for you, but you're blocking yourself off. So, okay, that was a little off topic, but also exactly on topic. What else? The last thing I want to get into is the monetary expansion. Is oftentimes we don't even know how abundant our being is, because we've been never placed into environments where we can actually receive. And you will be surprised at how much abundance there is in your field when you place yourself into the right environments where abundance can flow in. So how can abundance flow to you if you don't have a product? How can abundance really flow to you if you are limited by a job or by hours. How can abundance flow to you? If you're getting paid hourly, how can abundance possibly flow to you? And you might think, oh, I'm not an abundant being, or I'm not yet that abundant. When you are, and the only problem is you haven't placed yourself into the environments where it can flow to you. I mean, yeah, abundance will always find a way, but you can make it easier for it to flow. So if it's like, you're like, okay, how can abundance flow to me? Well, do you have a product? Do you have a product? No. Well, that's a problem. Create a product. Do you have an offering? No. Well, create an offering. Do you have a service? Well, create a service. Get paid by commission, right? Place yourself in environments where abundance can actually flow to you. It's like you just have to open the gates. And this is the upgrade that I wanted to share with you. And I hope that this miracle that happened in my life is helping you identify maybe certain stagnancies in your life, maybe certain ways where you are blocking yourself through judgment, or you're blocking yourself through not having identified your needs properly. So start right there. So yeah, that's your little homework. Go back, watch the video, and this is my first live. Let's see if there's any comment. No, just a random Indian man saying yes. Great. Thank you, Gorandla Narendra. Really, really awesome. Beautiful. Well, you might see this later because I just went live. So if you have any questions, if there's any contemplation that arose from that, let me know. I'll see. I kind of like this format. I kind of like to just go on and just data dump because I think this is beautiful, but I also love the thought out, really in-depth videos. So it was just beautiful to catch up with you, even though you were live here. I can still, feel you in the ethers, and I can feel our tribe here, our community, and I love you so much. Expansion is right there. This has been a really potent portal. Like, the Lion's Gate is real. It's real. The energies are real. The expansion that happens in this portal is real. And may you feel the after effects of it, and may all of it come together. And if you are, again, currently feeling stagnant, watch the video around needs. Look into the judgment that you might be placing on certain things and see the bigger picture. See the bigger picture. If we're talking 10-year, 20-year plan, if we're talking ministry stuff, how can certain gifts you have support and finance your ministry? How can they support your garden? I love you so much, and I'll see you very, very soon.